Hey guys, welcome back to One Stop Biology. So, in today's video, we are going to study properties of viruses. Now, what exactly are the properties of viruses? Why is this considered as a unique organism? So, basically, viruses are somewhat an intermediate between living and non-living entities. Like living entities, like we have plants, we have animals, and non-living entities like our mobile phones that we use in our daily lives. So how is it different? How is it different uh, from living and non-living? We'll study it point wise. So we'll start with the non-living entity. Okay, so you should remember some of the points as a pointers, as it is important from exam point of view. So say it is similar to non-living entity in the respect that it lacks protoplast is not present in viruses. Then the ability to get crystallized, say for example TMV virus or poliomyelitis virus. Okay, so first point is it lacks protoplast, then it has ability to get crystallized, then it is unable to live independent of a living cell. It always requires a host, which is not a property of a living entity. Then it has high specific gravity, which is found only in non-living objects. Okay, then absence of respiration, it's very important point. And also energy storing system, so they cannot store energy like we do, they cannot respire like we do. Then they don't have growth and division quality, they don't have property of growth and division. Although what happens is, instead different parts are synthesized separately, as we saw in the previous video while reproduction. So it synthesizes different parts separately. Okay, so these are some of the points of being similar to non-living entities. It lacks protoplast, it has ability to get crystallized, it is unable to live independent of a living cell, it has high specific gravity, absence of respiration and energy storing system, and absence of growth and division. Now let's move towards some of the properties that is similar to a living organism. Okay, so here we can see some of the properties of being similar to living organism. So they can form organic macromolecules. Okay, so this organic macromolecules formation which occur only in living beings. Okay, then they have presence of genetic material, so they have genetic material present, which again is similar to a living organism. They can multiply or reproduce, they can have mutation, occurrence of mutation is present, and the most mutable virus is HIV or AIDS. So just remember this point. Okay, this is important, that most mutable virus is HIV or AIDS, and it is followed by influenza virus. Okay, so they can mutate, then they have presence of certain enzymes like transcriptase and vitamins like riboflavin and biotin. So they have presence of such kind of uh, enzymes like transcriptase, and they contain riboflavin and biotin vitamins. Now this basically vitamins are present in pox virus. Okay, then they have antigenic property, they have infectivity and host specificity, so they choose their host. Okay, so these are some of the important points. There are certain points as well, like they can be killed by UV rays, X rays, or autoclaving. Okay, then they breed true to their type. Okay, they take over biosynthetic machinery of the host cell, right? And they can, and they produce chemical as well inside the host cell. Okay, so these are some of the very important properties through which we can say that a virus is similar to living beings as well. So they are unique because they can be similar to non-living things, they can be similar to living beings. Now let's move towards a very important point, or there are certain say topics that is discussed when we discuss about viruses, one of which is viroids. So what are these viroids? Okay, let's discuss these viroids once. So basically, viroids are the smallest self replicating particles. What are viroids? These are smallest self replicating particles. It was discovered by Diner in 1971. Now, viroids are infectious RNA particles. Okay, they are devoid of protein coat. So likewise in viruses we have a DNA and we had a protein coat as well to basically protect the genetic material that is present inside. But with viroids, the thing is that this protein coat is not present. They have RNA particles and they are devoid of protein coat. Then one of the very important properties of viroid is they are obligate parasite. Now what does this obligate parasite means? So basically a parasitic organism that cannot complete its life cycle without exploiting a suitable host. Okay, so if in case a viroid do not get a host, what will happen is it will fail to reproduce. Okay, so what are viroids? These are smallest self-replicating particles. It was basically discovered by Diner in 1971. These are infectious RNA particles. They are devoid of protein coat. They are obligate parasite, and viroids cause disease in plants only. So there is no human infection known till now. They cause diseases only in plants, like we have potato spindle tuber, or there is another disease that is chrysanthemum stunt. Okay, so these cause disease only in plants. Now what happens is they do not produce a protein at it. They cannot produce a protein basically as they don't have an initiation codon. So later in the videos you will study how a protein is synthesizes, and there are certain things needed in order to code a protein. Like we have codons present, and there are initiation codons which helps in initiating the generation of protein. So they don't have this initiation codon, so they cannot synthesize or produce a protein. What they do is they can multiply by both RNA and DNA dependent replication. So they always need a host. If they don't get a host, they fail to reproduce. So these are viroids. There's another term very famous like viroids, which is prions. Okay, so we have prions. Now what are these prions? Basically they are highly resistant. They are highly resistant small sized glycoprotein particles. So like viroids were smallest replicating RNA particles, now these are glycoprotein particles. It was discovered by Prusiner in 1983. Now, what happens is they are formed due to mutation in gene PRNP. So, remember, this is again important from exam point of view. Prions are formed due to mutation in gene PRNP that causes changes in three-dimensional configuration. Now it can also act as a catalyst connecting converting normal protein into prion state. So what they do is they act as a catalyst to convert a protein into a prion. Now they are basically not affected by any kind of proteases, nucleases. So these are basically lytic enzymes which cause breakdown of proteins or nucleic acids. So but they, being a glycoprotein, they are not affected by any kind of lytic enzymes like proteases, nucleases, even temperature up to 800 degrees Celsius, UV radiations, or formaldehyde. And they causes disease in animals. So there are diseases like mad cow disease, scrapie in sheep. Okay, so they cause diseases like this. Prions also in fungi have a defensive role against antibiotics and toxins. So in fungi, if prions are present, they have defensive role against antibiotics and toxins. Okay, so with this we are completing the entire virus module that is asked with respect to boards or your NEET and AIMS preparation. I hope you understood the entire virus module. If not, you can always let me know in comment section, and we'll discuss things further. We can discuss it as per your priority and whatever you didn't understand. Now let's just recall everything and revise once what all things we studied in this particular video. So we'll again start with what are the properties in a virus. Okay, so we studied about various properties of viruses. So it is an intermediate between living and non-living entities. Like plant is a living entity. Our mobile phones are non-living, definitely. So it is similar to a mobile phone as it lacks protoplast. It has ability to get crystallized. For example, tobacco mosaic or poliovirus. It is unable to. It is not able to live independent of a living cell. It has high specific gravity, absence of respiration and energy storing system, then absence of growth and division. So different parts are synthesized separately, but they cannot grow and divide altogether without a host. They cannot divide without a host. They need a living cell to divide and multiply and grow. Okay, so these are some of the properties of a non-living entity. Then we studied some of the properties of a living entity. For example, they are formed of organic macromolecules, presence of genetic material, multiply or produce, although inside a host, but they multiply and reproduce inside a host. Then mutation also occurs, and the most mutable virus is HIV and AIDS, followed by influenza virus. So remember this, it's important. Then they have presence of enzymes like transcriptase and vitamins like riboflavin and biotin. This is present in pox virus. Then they have antigenic properties. The infectivity or host specificity is there. Then they what they do is they take over biosynthetic machinery of host cell and they produce their own chemicals. They can be killed by UV rays or autoclaving. They breed true to their type. So these are some of the very important properties of which makes it similar to a living organism. Then we discussed certain terms like viroids and prions. So let's just revise it once very quickly. So what are viroids? Basically, viroids are small self-replicating particles, and they are smallest self-replicating RNA particles. It was basically uh, given by Diner in 1971. He discovered viroids. Then they are devoid of protein coat. They don't have a covering, outer protein covering. They are obligate parasite. That means that they cannot complete its life cycle without exploiting a suitable host. They need a host or else they'll fail to reproduce. And then they cause disease in plants only, like potato spindle tuber or chrysanthemum stunt. Okay, and so basically they don't have initiation codon, so they cannot produce their own protein. They can multiply by RNA and DNA dependent replication. Okay, and then lastly we discussed prions. So prions basically are highly resistant small sized glycoprotein particles. Okay, so they are highly resistant small sized glycoprotein particles. It was discovered by Prusiner in 1983. Okay, it is formed by mutation of gene PRNP. How is it formed? It is formed by mutation of gene PRNP. Okay, and what happens is which causes changes in 3D configuration. Okay, then it acts as a catalyst converting normal protein into prion state. It is not affected by lytic enzymes like proteases, nucleases, or temperature up to 800 degrees Celsius, UV radiation, or formaldehyde. And it causes diseases in animals. For example, there are diseases like mad cow disease or scrapie in sheep. Now, prions also have a defensive role against antibiotics and toxins in fungi. Okay, so with this we complete the entire virus module. Please let me know if you want to have any additional help or you want to discuss anything further in viruses. Also, give me your feedback regarding how did you like the video entirely, all the set of videos for viruses, and please share it and share it with your friends if it can help them in any way. Thank you so much. Bye bye. I hope you understood this video. If not, please mention in the comment box below. You'll find the entire module of viruses now on the channel. Please share it with your friends, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. Keep watching my videos.